Action. All right, awesome. So we went through 2 stories already. We went through Harrison Bergeron. What conflict did we deal with in Harrison Bergeron? What was it again? Character versus society, right? So there's 4 types of conflicts. We have character versus society, which we had in Harrison Bergeron. We had to build a fire, which was character versus nature. So in everyday use, we're going to deal with character versus character, in which a lot of times, a lot of stories and plots that we see today, we see the character versus character conflict. Okay, so what's the other conflict? I have character versus character, character versus society, character versus nature, and what's the other one? Internal conflict? Self. Okay, so you might see some of that in this as well. So, like I said before, every single story that we have a thematic thing that we work on. So for this one, it says, what makes something valuable? Okay, it says the word value means different things to different people, and I think we can all agree on that. For example, an old vase might have high monetary value or high sentimental value. To some, it might have great historical, cultural, or artistic value, but others might think it's a useless piece of junk. Often people disagree over the value they assign to an object, or they may agree that it's valuable, but for other reasons. How many of you guys have seen American Pickers or Pawn Stars or something like that, right? So we have all those things, and how many times do you guys see it where, you know, somebody walks up on an item and they're like, or the American Pickers guys, they walk up on an item and say, I'll give you 20 bucks, whereas the guys are like, oh, I thought I had 150. Or they were like, oh, I was just going to give it to you. Yeah. And so people are finding value in different ways. What we're going to do here to start off this story is I want you to think here for a couple minutes. It says, if you could only save one precious possession of yours from being destroyed or left behind, what would you save? Okay, you don't have to write a short paragraph. You don't have to write anything down. But for 2 minutes, just sit there and think about if you had to grab something. We'll just say, you know, your house is on fire. You can only grab one thing. What would it be? So take 2 minutes. Think about what that's going to be, and then we'll talk about it, okay? So 2 minutes. Okay, so what are some of the things that you guys are going to save? Tanner, go ahead.
My blow dart gun, or like my real gun.
Why do you choose to save those things?
I don't know.
Is it because it's so expensive that you'll never be able to replace it? Is it because you've had it in your family for a long time? It means a lot to you? What is it?
I know, they're just cool.
They're just cool?
Yeah.
Are they high? Like, did it cost a lot of money? So for you, it's probably more sentimental. You've had them around for a while. You wouldn't want to replace those things. Does anybody else have anything that maybe is sentimental? Yeah.
I painted a painting and had Harry sign it at a meet and greet, and it's very precious to me because he actually loved it, and it reminds me of that
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have high sentimental value there as well. And it might have high monetary value too as the time goes on. I mean, if people really enjoy it and want to pay for it. But a lot of things that we choose are sentimental. Does anybody have anything high in monetary value that they just have to grab? Yes.
My money.
Your money?
Yeah.
Like you have it stored in like a safe?
Yeah.
Is that the only thing that you have in this safe?
No, other forms of money like gold and silver coins.
A lot of people, this morning they were saying that they would grab like a box of things. Yeah, also go ahead. Your what? Insulin pump to live, right? So I think that monetary and sentimental, you have to live. Yeah, Bennett, go ahead.
Parents.
Your parents can make it out alive. Think about it. It's okay if they make it out alive. What other objects would you choose? So some people say they have boxes of pictures that they'd like to take with them. So what you're going to have here in this story is you're going to have 2 sisters, okay? And they both like the same item, but they like it for totally different reasons. One sees it as, oh, this is like, you know, this is really expensive. I like to have this so I can show it off. Whereas the other sister says, hey, this has been in our family forever. Okay, this has been in our family forever. I don't want to give it up, so I want it. And so these 2 sisters are arguing over the same item because they want it, but they want it for totally different reasons. So as you read this story, You need to think about what that means as value, what you guys consider valuable, and how the sisters interact with each other. Now, one other thing besides the conflicts that we talked about is the plot structure, okay? What are the 5 parts of the plot structure again? We have, first one is exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. And so, as you guys kind of go through these, as you go through the stories, you need to be able to identify the 5 parts of the plot structure. You already know there's going to be character versus character conflict, but can you read a story and can you place all the parts of the story within that plot structure? Okay, so I'm going to let Mr. Justice start here reading the story with you guys. Make sure you're following along, that you have the story pulled up right now, that you're ready to popcorn read, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right, everyday use. Okay, as Mr. Sale said, we're going to see some character versus character, and there will be some character versus self conflict as well. Okay. One thing that we need to focus on is it's a skill called making inferences. Can anybody tell me what making an inference means? Yes.
Guess.
What kind of guess would it be?
Educated guess.
An educated guess, logical guess, just kind of put things together, okay? Put 2 and 2 together and find out exactly what you're looking for, okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and start with everyday use. I'll start and read a couple paragraphs and I'm going to pass it off to somebody, okay? Is everybody with me? All right. I will wait for her in the yard that Maggie and I made so clean and wavy yesterday afternoon. A yard like this is more comfortable than most people know. It is not just a yard. It is like an extended living room. When the hard clay is swept clean as a floor and the fine sand around the edges lined with tiny irregular grooves, anyone can come and sit and look up into the elm tree and wait for the breezes that never come inside the house. Maggie will be nervous until after her sister goes. She will stand hopelessly in corners, homely and ashamed of the burn scars down her arms and legs, eyeing her sister with a mixture of envy and awe. She thinks her sister has held life always in the palm of one hand, and that no is a word the world never learned to say to her. Okay, so let's look back at lines 7 through 10. Maggie will be nervous until after her sister goes. She will stand hopelessly in corners, homely and ashamed of the burn scars down her arms and legs, eyeing her sister with a mixture of envy and awe. She thinks her sister's held life always in the palm of one hand, that no is a word that the world never learned to say to her. So what can we infer about Maggie and her sister from this description? So what do you guys think? How do you view Maggie? What's that? Creative? Okay, possibly. Any other thoughts? Yes.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay. What else?
Spoiled.
Now, is Maggie spoiled or her sister spoiled? Sister would be spoiled. Okay, that would be something I would think as well. What else? Okay, because remember, just looking, Maggie will be nervous until after her sister goes. She'll stand hopelessly in the corners, homely and ashamed of the burn scars down her arms and legs. So what?
Shy.
She might be shy. Okay, what else? Jealous. Yeah. Okay. What else? Those are all good answers. Any got any more? All right, I'm gonna read one more paragraph. I'm gonna read to the red box. You've no doubt seen those TV shows where the child who has made it is confronted as a surprise by her own mother and father, tottering in weakly from the backstage. A pleasant surprise, of course. What would they do if parent and child came on the show only to curse out and insult each other? On TV, mother and child embrace and smile into each other's faces. Sometimes the mother and father weep. The child wraps them in her arms and leans across the table to tell how she would not have made it without their help. I have seen these programs. All right, Kylie, why don't you start with that next paragraph?
Sometimes I dream and dream and go wake up.
D.
And I are
Suddenly. job. So, we've learned the sisters' names by now, right? So what are the two sisters' names? What's that, Antonio? Maggie and Dee. Okay, good. All right, have we figured out who the narrator is? Who do you guys think the narrator is?
Your mom.
Their mother. Very good. Andrew. Good job. Last class had a hard time figuring that one out, so that's good. All right. Go ahead, Kyle, and pick somebody else.
Brianna.
All right, Brianna.
In real life, I am a large, big-boned woman with rough and working hands. In the winter, I wear flannel nightgowns to bed and overalls during the day. I can kill a cleaning off as mercilessly as a man. My fat keeps me hot in zero weather. I can work outside all day, breaking ice to get water for washing. I can eat pork liver cooked over the open fires. Open fires minutes after it comes steaming from the hog. One winter I knocked a bull calf straight into the brain between them. I was with a sledgehammer and had the meat hung up to chill before nightfall. Keep going.
Yep, you're not done with the paragraph yet.
Because of course all this does not show on television. I am the way my daughter would want me to be 100 pounds lighter. My skin like an uncooked clearly pancake. My hair glistens in the hot bright lights. Johnny Carson has much to do to keep up with my quick and witty tongue.
Okay. All right, go ahead and pass it on. Nice job.
Caleb.
But that is a mistake. I know even. Yeah. But that is a mistake. I know even before I wake up, whoever knew a Jake Johnson with a quick tongue. Who can even imagine me looking a strange white man in the eye? It seems to me I have talked to them always with one foot raised in flight, with my head turned in whichever way is farthest from them. Dee, though, she would always look anyone in the eye. Hesitation was not part of her future.
Okay, so we have another opportunity to make some emphasis. Okay, we can also flip back the page. Well, you might need to scroll up or scroll over a page, but look at the painting on the second page of the story. Okay, just by looking at this and what was read in those last 3 or 4 paragraphs, what can we infer about Mama from her description of herself? And give me details. Corey, you're smiling.
Got a little head. Very little head.
A very little head.
Very little head.
Oh, very. Well, okay. All right.
She's a hard worker.
She's a hard worker.
Big bones.
She's a heavier set.
She doesn't seem like that.
Well, maybe not my size, but she's heavier set. All right, E. African American, probably. Okay, because I think this story is set in the United States. I believe it's set in Georgia. So she'll be African American, yes. Okay. What else? How can we tell if she's a hard worker? We saw she's washing dishes. She's just washing a few dishes, right? Just a whole sinful. Yeah, she's washing a ton of dishes. Okay, so she's a hard worker. What else is she wearing that might give you an apron? Okay. Okay. So yeah, she's got those. She's all those things can tell you. All right. Now, we can also get an insight as to what Dee would like her to look like or like her to be. Okay. So what would Dee like her to be? Thinking weight.
100 pounds lighter.
100 pounds lighter. Yeah. Okay. Dee's not happy with her mama because she's a little heavier set. Okay. Do you ever think about your parents like that or your guardians like that? You think like, oh, I wish you were 100 pounds lighter because you're not good enough. No, that's not something. That's not something that comes across your mind, is it? Okay. So that also kind of gives an insight to how Dee is as well. Okay. What else? What else can we say about Mama? Or the way Dee would like her mother to be? Oh, yep.
Dee wants her to have lighter skin.
Lighter skin, yep. Okay. Think she's too dark. Okay, what's that? Flirty? Okay. I can see that. That's good. Alright. Yes, Matt.
I was gonna say, like, she wants her to be a level of perfect that is unattainable. Like,
Awesome. She wants to be a level of perfect that is unattainable. Unattainable is what Maddie says. Okay? That is awesome. Did you read the story ahead of time? Okay. Just want to make sure. Alright, any other comments? Okay, who's reading last? Caleb?
Yeah.
Pick somebody, bud.
Bennett.
Bennett's over here.
Yeah, I know.
You're looking over here. Bennett. He's over this way.
I'm making him worry.
Alright, Bennett. How do I look, Mama?
Carlos Mama, Maggie says, showing just enough for a thin body, developing a thick skirt and a bra for me and now. She's there, I'm asking about it. I'm out in PR, I say. Have you ever seen a lame animal? How's a dog railroad by some careless person reaching up to another car? So I look at someone who's ignorant enough to be kind of him. This is the way my mind was. She's been like this, chin on chest, eyes on the ground, feet and shuffling. Ever since that fire that burned the other house.
Okay. So we learned a couple things here. Maggie. Kinda, that would be a description of how Maggie walks. Okay? What else do we learn about something that's happened to the family? Yes?
There was a fire at the old house.
There's a fire at the old house. Okay? And we'll see a little bit more about that in just a second. Alright. Bennett, you can pick somebody.
He's lighter than Maggie. Nicer hair and a fuller figure. She's a woman now, though sometimes I forget. How long ago was it that the house burned? 10, 12 years. Sometimes I can still hear the flames and feel Maggie's arms sticking to me. And her dress falling off. Wearing a little black place. Her eye seems shut up and blazed open by the flames reflected in them in the street. I see her swinging off under the sweet young tree she used to be going up. A look of recognition on her face, and while she last in the green board of the house fall in with the red hot brick tree. Why don't you do a dance on the ashes? I'd love to ask her. She hated that house.
Okay. Alright, go ahead and pass it on.
I used to think she hated Maggie too, but that was before we raised the money. The church made to send her to Augusta to school. She used to read to us without pity, forcing words, lies, other folks' habits, whole lives upon us too, sitting trapped and ignorant underneath her voice. She washed us in a river too of make-believe, burned us with a lot of knowledge we didn't necessarily need to know, pressed us to her with the serious way she read, to shove us away at just the moment like dimwits we seemed to want to understand. Dee wanted nice things, a yellow orchid dress to wear to her graduations from high school, black pumps to match a green suit she made from an old suit somebody gave me. She was determined to stare down any disaster in her efforts. Her eyelids would not flicker for minutes at a time. Often I fought up the temptation to shake her. At 16, she had a style of her own and knew what style was.
Okay, so we see some conflict here. Who's our conflict between?
Dee and Maggie.
Yeah, not Dee and Maggie. Well,
Mother.
Dee and Mother. Mother is not thinking very highly of Maggie right now, or of Dee right now, is she? Okay, just because of things that have happened in the past. She's reflecting back. Okay. Okay. How did Dee view the old house? How did Dee view the old house? She hated it. Okay. Mama's having a flashback. Up here it says, how long ago was it that the other house burned? 10, 12 years ago? Sometimes I can still hear the flames and feel Maggie's arms sticking to me. her hair smoking, and her dress falling off in little black papery flakes. Okay, so that's a pretty vivid description. Okay, Mama's trying to get Maggie out. Maggie's been burned. Arms are sticking to Mama. Dress is getting burned. Her hair's smoking. You know, all vivid descriptions. Okay, would you want something like that to happen to you guys? No.
Sure.
So, yeah, exactly. A little sarcasm, good. I like that. Good sense of humor. Thank you. All right. I'm gonna read a couple more paragraphs, and then I'm gonna turn you loose and let you read some on your own. Okay? I never had an education myself. After second grade, the school was closed down. Don't ask me why. In 1927, colored asked fewer questions than they do now. Sometimes Maggie reads to me. She stumbles along good-naturedly, but can't see well. Well, she knows she is not bright. Like good looks and money, quickness passed her by. She will marry John Thomas, who has mossy teeth and an earnest face, and then I'll be free to sit here and I guess just sing church songs to myself. Although I never was a good singer, never could carry a tune. I was always better at a man's job. I used to love to milk till I was hooked in the side in 49. Cows are soothing and slow and don't bother you unless you try to milk them the wrong way. I have deliberately turned my back on the house. It has 3 rooms, just like the one that burned. Except the roof is tin, they don't make shingle roofs anymore. There are no real windows, just some holes cut in the sides, like the portholes in a ship, but not round and not square, with rawhide holding the shutters up on the outside. This house is in a pasture too, like the other one. No doubt, when Dee sees it, she'll want to tear it down. She wrote me once that no matter where we choose to live, she will manage to come see us, but she'll never bring her friends. Maggie and I thought about this, and Maggie asked me, Mama, when did Dee ever have any friends? She had a few, furtive boys in pink shirts hanging about on wash day after school, nervous girls who never laughed. Impressed with her, they worshipped the well-turned phrase, the cute shape, the scolding humor that erupted like bubbles in lye. She read to them. When she was courting Jimmy T, she didn't have much time to pay to us, but turned all her fault-finding power on him. He flew to marry a cheap city girl from a family of ignorant, flashy people. She hardly had time to introduce herself. Interesting. We learn more about Dee, don't we? Okay, we haven't even had a chance to have Dee in the story yet, and you're already learning quite a bit about her. Okay, so what else have we learned about Dee? Yes?
She never really had any actual friends.
Yeah, she never really had any friends. Okay? You know, you could tell her to go sit at a table with all her friends and then she'd be sitting by herself. Yeah, that'd be Dee. Okay? What else? What else?
She moved away and didn't really want to see her mom and Maggie much.
Okay, she moved away, didn't want to see Mom and Maggie much. Okay, what else? Anybody else got anything to add? She thinks she's better than her family. Also, everybody else. That'd be good. That's a good one. Okay. We also see a new vocab word, furtive. What does furtive mean? Sneaky and secretive. Okay. So the boy she was dating wasn't really a good influence to be around. Correct. Also, recompose.
Restore, to claim, and to calm.
To restore to calm, to settle again. Okay? It's kind of like you compose yourself. You take a second, after something scary is happening, you take a second to get your wits about you. That would be good. All right. So from line 101, when she comes, I will meet, but there they are. Your job is to take the last 15, 20 minutes in class and go ahead and continue reading. What you do not read today, you have to finish tonight. Okay, that is your homework. Now tomorrow, we will go over the story together, and you guys will also have the opportunity to act out a scene from the play, or from the story. Okay? So you'll be in groups tomorrow. We'll get more into it later, but you'll be in groups of 3 tomorrow, and you'll get the opportunity to choose a significant part of the story to act out. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? And just this is the reading is homework. Alright? Go ahead.